Okay, today we're going to be following up and looking at the next episode from Upper Echelon Gamers, talking about Raid Shadow Legends. This one's called The Predatory Truth About Raid Casino Legends. Now, we covered his other one. We already talked about Raid Garbage Legends on one of my videos. We looked at it. We agreed with some points, disagreed with the others. There's a breakdown of that one. Link to all this, including all of the original videos, are going to be in the pinned comment and description. So, with all that out of the way, I'm actually kind of excited to see what he has to say about this one, because his last video seemed like some good critiques towards the gacha gaming in Jimro, and I think this video is going to be a good opportunity for him to, he's got the ball in the air, and I think if he wants to slam dunk it, I want to see some great critique about Raid's actual monetization structure, and we all know I have had my own critiques of it, so let's go.
Raid Shadow Legends. One of the most popular videos I've ever done on the entire channel was just me complaining about and ripping on this game. I had a variety of different complaints, ranging from their persistent sponsorship attempts to their hilariously controlling script, but the main issue I have with Raid is that it's just basically one big marketing push that relies on false claims and high budgets to brute force their product down the throats of gaming fans all over the world. Raid has a simple and unfortunately very effective model. Pay YouTubers and streamers boatloads of cash to pretend they enjoy the game and get their audience to try it out. This is something they do all across the platform with all different types of creators, and it's gotten to a point where the game is itself a meme because of their persistence and the awful scripts. The obviously false intentions behind the words, as creators say, "You'll find me in-game," and have never even logged in past a couple of minutes to get enough footage to promote it as if it's their own life's blood. Or more recently, as a PR spokesperson for Raid said publicly on Twitter, "We never pay content creators."
Okay, so this has been settled actually multiple times. They've clarified what they said. They've talked to the creators. What they meant is they don't pay people like me. People who were ex-Plarium moderators, people who were in the content creation program. They're not paying Cold Brew, who's a content creator, right? They're not paying him dollars for being in the program. This was a very poorly worded tweet, and obviously blew up because of how poor the wording is. The fault lies with Plarium with this tweet for sure, but this has already been settled, and I'm sure this was settled after the video, or else he would have already known this and done this.
They promote us because they like the game.
Sure.
That's a whole video in and of itself. The claim by Raid, one of the most prolific and aggressive sponsorship seekers on all of YouTube, that they never pay content creators for sponsorships. That's actually a big deal because FTC laws require disclosure by those same creators, so their cover is blown right off the bat, and their proposals and contracts are floating around everywhere, which then shows, point for point, how they pay large sums of money for creators to say very exact words of.
Okay, so this point I'm hoping we're going to get into the actual monetization structure of Raid, because all this point is points against marketing and advertising. The only reason it's more annoying with Raid is because it's more common. You see it everywhere, and the reason behind that is because they have a larger budget. So all of the things he's saying are true for every sponsorship. I know one of his other videos were sponsored by Manscaped. I doubt he actually shaves his with Manscaped, but you know, I mean, that's what sponsors are. I'm not sure why I would take a sponsor and then shit on their game and say the opposite of what they want me to say. It's not false intentions when you have a tag that literally says you're getting paid to say it. I mean, that's what sponsored tags are. I don't know where we're going with this point.
Promotion. Plarium Games, the producers of Raid, tried to clarify this statement later on by posting a Discord message screenshot, which was one of the least professional things I've seen in a very long time. They claimed that
it's actually Discord is like the industry standard for communication, but okay.
There was simply a moment of confusion, despite that confusion being nearly impossible to comprehend given the clarity of the thread where this all occurred. But
actually, no, I already explained it, so it's pretty clear.
Regardless, the point is Raid throws cash at creators to get viewers into their game, and it works. Before going further, side note, a quick shout out to commenter Kyle Bustos. He sent me down the path with his feedback and spurred the creation of this video. So last video, I just ripped on Raid Shadow Legends without diving deeper into why the game is the way it is.
That's
For
fair.
starters, the game is a gacha mobile title.
Okay, now we're starting to get... Okay, so now he's got me back on board, baby. I'm back on the hook. All right, so we've talked about the Twitter and all that, got that out of the way. He basically doesn't like that they're getting paid to say, oh, you'll find me in-game and I'll play the game. But, I mean, bro, it's a sponsorship, everyone. I mean, that's what you do. In sponsorships, you say the shit that's on the line. And everyone knows you're getting paid to say it because you say, today we're sponsored by... So... That being said, that part I'm a little confused on. However, he can save the whole thing by getting into. All he has to do is actually. The irony of this is all he has to do to slam dunk this is actually play the game. You know what I mean? He's dunking on people who don't play the game, but he just has to literally do that to dunk on. That's all he has to do. So if he plays it long enough to get the pack offers, he can just shit on the pack offer. That's why I'm excited to see. It's like, are we going to see the goddamn hypocrisy as
the whole concept is randomization of rewards to fuel progression. There is no actual progression mechanic that can be reliably completed in a repeatable fashion.
Why?
Instead, progression is tied to randomized champion unlocks, which are purchased in tiered packs with anything from in-game funds
and earned in-game, yeah,
to actual real-world dollars. Another aspect to Raid is the aggressive advertising. There are invasive and obnoxious advertisements between menus that bombard the player constantly, and while the ability to play this game for free does certainly exist, the actual experience is quite clearly designed to elicit extensive and continued purchasing from users by leveraging slot machine-style randomization and Las Vegas-style advertising at every possible corner. Well, that comparison between Raid and Las Vegas is very deliberate here.
It is.
Down we go into the wormhole of why Raid Shadow Legends is legitimately a games industry arm of the casino gambling industry, and why this game, more than almost any other in existence, exemplifies the now rampant infestation of gambling mechanics in video games. It all starts with Plarium Games, an Israeli game development company. Plarium Games is the creator behind Raid Shadow Legends, and Plarium Games was acquired by Aristocrat Leisure Limited in 2017 for a buyout price of $500 million. Aristocrat Leisure Limited is a casino gambling manufacturer specializing in slot machines that are shipped all over the world. It is, in fact, one of the largest casino game manufacturing companies on the planet, and as of 2017, it was the full owner of Plarium Games and thus Raid Shadow Legends. A few notable quotes from a statement given by CEO of Aristocrat Trevor Crocker when speaking to games
not the CEO anymore.
Industry.biz read as follows. Aristocrat has continued to deliver significant growth and outstanding results in our digital social casino business. The acquisition of Plarium allows Aristocrat to expand our addressable market into logical adjacent segments in the fast-growing mobile gaming market. That right there is already a definable and direct link to actual gambling methodology, which is now using Raid as a mechanism to expand their addressable market into logical adjacent segments in the fast-growing mobile gaming market. AKA, in layman's terms, get some mobile devs, make some gambling games disguised as actual products, market casino mechanics to a wider unregulated audience, often underage, and rake in old cash. It's pretty clear-cut, but to go one step further, CEO of Aristocrat Trevor Crocker has now been appointed as chairman of the American Gaming Association. The American Gaming Association is a gambling advocacy lobbying group which attempts to define further policy for the industry which can spur growth and increase revenue. The CEO of a gambling company that specializes in slot machines, who happens to also now be the chairman of a gambling policy lobbying group, is in control of Plarium Games, who in turn is in control of Raid Shadow Legends. Hopefully the comparison between Las Vegas and Raid Shadow Legends is now beginning to make a lot more sense. From the aggressive, always in-your-face advertising to the integral core mechanics of the game itself, Raid is a mini digital casino with very few discrepancies. The thing is, the discrepancies that do exist are not a good thing. They are actually avoidances of key mitigatory factors which help curb the negative effects of actual gambling in the...
Yeah, so the beginning of the video is like... If you just got straight into that, this video is like 500 times better. Because like all those points are just fucking killer. Like I get it in the beginning. You hate sponsors, whatever. I get it, you know. It is what it is. Okay, you threw me off with that. But then, boys, he brought it back home by dunking. He actually did the research on the Aristocrat, find out about... I did. It's great. I love that he went...
Real world. And Raid has just managed to circumvent them.
Somebody...
The largest and most immediate difference is cashing out. This is a fundamental component of casino gambling, at least the traditional kind, but also an avenue for profit fluctuation. The argument that Raid is not gambling because players cannot cash out their winnings is pretty much the cornerstone of their entire defense. However, if one cannot cash out, does that still eliminate the identity behind actions like spending real money on randomized rewards without knowing what you will receive, therefore gambling on certain outcomes that are better or worse? By removing this exit line of player capital, Raid has actually improved upon the existing casino model. In a Las Vegas slot machine room, you can go in, stake money, get lucky or unlucky, whatever it is, and cash out, then go home. If you get very lucky, you could walk away with millions of dollars. That is one of the most addictive aspects of casino gambling as a whole. But the basic function is that money can go in and money can come out, even at an extremely low chance, which can impact short-term revenue stability under certain circumstances. Now, casinos are obviously a massively profitable industry. I'm not saying that the cash out option fundamentally undermines their ability to retain player capital, but extending the phrase "the house always wins" from a definable percentage chance that it will win, say 54% of the time, as just an example here, to a 100% and indisputable certainty that any and all money you deposit immediately goes to the house.
These points. So here's the problem. I was really hoping he would like actually get far enough into the game where he can start talking about the packs and the value of packs compared to other games and stuff like that. That would have been another, like, he would have gone from like dunking on them to like 360 dunking on them, in my opinion. But here's the thing, okay? It's kind of a moot point, the fact that cash doesn't go out, because at this point, the assumed value isn't so much that you're getting money back out. Because when you're gambling in a casino, you don't get anything else other than your money back out. Okay, you don't have a game there too. It's not like when you're there, you're building like this rapport with the jackpot slot you're on, and every time you go there, the slot's leveling up or something. Like, there's no other thing that someone might care about. You're paying about stuff. You're paying to gamble for stuff you do actually care about. Like, the only fallacy in his argument is he's assuming raid is so bad that people don't care about the game. The game is good enough for people to legitimately want to like gamble to try to get something back, which is only something for the game. Other than that, I agree with all his points. I think he just needs to go the one step farther to realize people do like this stuff, and maybe even that is even worse because it can double down on the addictive tendencies. Look, I mean, I've bought literal poker chips in fake poker chips. I bought fake fucking poker chips to play VR poker just because I think it's fun. Okay, I can't even win real well with it. I just think it was fun. All right, so that's my only point. Okay, is that it's not always about the money. And hopefully he gets into that. And I really hope he gets far enough into the game to like actually look at the pack offers so that he has that information. But
house exclusively, and you might get nothing back at all, but the house already won with no other outcome before you even took your shot. Which one do you think, honestly, that the casino owners would prefer? Using this new methodology as a jumping off point, the next major discrepancy is RTP. RTP means return to player, and casino slots have very well defined RTP values. In fact, you can look up the RTP for various different casinos online because they are actual legally enforced minimums. But to go even further, the competitive nature of casino gambling has spurred RTP values to fluctuate higher than the minimum value, somewhere around typically 97%. Mobile gaming does not have any form of RTP enforcement or even consideration. Players don't even think about it, publishers are delighted to be able to ignore it, and the ultimate
So there's transparency laws, but he is correct. There is not laws being like, you cannot make a game that's 1 in a million to get a legendary. There's no law. They can make it as rare as they want to. They're not going to get people there buying it, and they have to disclose those numbers. But there is ways to be shady about it, so he's not far off here.
Values when compared to casino slots, like the slots produced by the now owner of Raid Shadow Legends, are horrifically low. Where 96 or 97% may be standard in Las Vegas, the return to player for character packs in a mobile game might be less than 2%. It's an imperfect comparison because RTP calculations rely on what percentage of money is coming back to the player, therefore a cash out option, and not what the value of the skin is that they acquired, or the value of the character, or the relative strength, etc. But this type of RTP gambling comparison can be done almost perfectly for a title like CSGO, which has skin gambling sites that do in fact facilitate cash outs. The bottom line is that by any and all metrics obtainable as of right now on the subject, gaming loot boxes, mobile character packs, or whatever else are...
So a random bit of information. I bought like $100 worth of loot boxes for CSGO, got a $1,400 knife. I pulled, that video is still on the channel. You can see me freaking out about it. I pulled a $1,400 knife, sold it, and then used all that money to buy Steam games for like 2 years.
World of their own entirely. They do not conform to existing player protection guidelines at all. That's not true. Even close. The last discrepancy between legitimate casino slot machines and mobile gaming, in particular Raid Shadow Legends, is audience access. Vegas casinos are age restricted. Traditional gambling as a whole is highly regulated and unavailable to those under 21 years old.
True.
But mobile gaming makes no such distinction. In fact, mobile gaming has about as little age verification or restriction as could possibly be imagined. So,
well, yes and no. So here's the way I feel about that is games do say there's an age requirement. They don't require your fingerprint or face ID or anything, or proof of verification or anything like that, or else we'd be complaining that we're giving them too much information. So they basically trust you, the kid, be like, to not say that, oh yeah, I'm 17 or whatever, right? I mean, it's the same thing with other stuff online, right? And kids just get along around it anyway. So here's the thing. In order to actually access the stuff, they have to be given an iPad. I mean, a 13-year-old did not come up with the money to purchase an iPad. Like, that didn't happen. So the parent bought the kid the iPad, handed it to him with no parental lock, and said, go wild. And then we're mad at the gaming company. So that's my only counter argument. It's like, I understand there's a fair argument to be said that, like, this is basically gambling. I agree with this point that Raid's basically gambling, and gambling isn't legal to children, right? So what are we doing? I get the comparison. It's a fair one. My only counter argument is, well, who the handing them the keys to the car and putting them in the car? Like, that's my counter. I don't actually know what the correct answer is here. I'd have to see and read the actual bills as they come into regulation themselves for law and see what I think about them individually. But it's a tricky solution. I'd be interested to know what you guys think of that one, honestly.
The accessible audience for Aristocrat to expand their addressable market is not just larger, it is practically everyone. This behavior is present elsewhere in the games industry as well. I'm not trying to say it's just mobile gaming, but one of the largest mobile games in existence right now, certainly the most prolific on YouTube when it comes to sponsorships and marketing campaigns, can be traced backwards all the way to an actual stone-cold casino company who has now made it clear without any subterfuge at all that their goal is to expand their addressable market.
I do agree. Okay, I'm not disagreeing. I do think it's fair to realize Plarium was bought out by Aristocrat after they had already made, like, they were a gaming company. They made mobile games. And then they got purchased by a casino company. The casino company may be influencing the game now, but the casino company did not own it before it was bought. Does that make sense? They were bought out by the gambling company. So I think that's just a fair difference.
Leveraging gambling in mobile games. And that company is also under the direct corporate control of a man who simultaneously runs the largest gambling lobby.
I feel like he's trying to make a point where it's like a casino company made a mobile game that's like to basically get casinos to kids. Like, that's what I think he's saying. I know this isn't the case because I can see from my YouTube demographic, the majority of you people watching are like 30 to 48, are like right in the core. I know it's adults playing this game. We all know it's adults playing this game. Kids aren't going through $20, $30, $40, $50,000, which I'm sure he would agree they're targeting whales in this game, right? Whales aren't the kids. If they are, their credit card gets cut off real lickety split like that because the same parents who are using the iPad to basically parent their kid are also struggling so that when this kid spends $500 and shows up on their credit card bill, that iPad gets taken away. It's not... Kids aren't running up these massive bills in mobile games. That is one hilarious misunderstanding that I'm hearing from a lot. All the whales I have ever spoken to, it's literally the whale pod, are all older than me, and I'm 31. Just that part gets annoying. In the world.
Comparing Raid Casino Legends to Las Vegas is more accurate than any of us might like to acknowledge. The track record of Raid is at best annoying and at worst downright predatory. Lying about basic sponsorships or being incompetent enough to actually make that kind of error in the context of how it was made means that they are on the fence between dishonest or inept. Not to mention further issues like bought and paid for Google Play Store reviews or lies in their promotional claims and all the things that they're saying in their commercials, etc., etc. There's a very long list there. I often rail against the inclusion of gambling mechanics in AAA games, but rarely is there an example in the industry that is this well defined or makes...
I mean, he already said one in his own video, CSGO, very well defined, one of the worst gambling things of all time, and has spawned literal dozens of websites with which you can gamble outside of it, which have been used to scam actual children on Twitch. So
this easy to demonstrate that certain titles and mechanics in the space are just a proxy for actual gambling companies to, again, by Trevor Crocker's own words, expand their addressable market into logical adjacent segments. Bottom line, where once I referred to the game as Raid Shadow Legends, I then switched over to calling it Raid Garbage Legends, and now I land on Raid Casino Legends. The world of casino gambling rakes in over $40 billion annually as of 2018. In 2019, mobile gaming hit almost $70 billion. A merger between these two industries, especially when one of them is free from the legal gauntlet of regulatory scrutiny, as of right now at least, but that's a whole separate topic, seems very obvious.
But they may have made $70 billion, but Raid didn't make the most. Not even within its own genre.
for today, though.
Clear.
If you want to support, there are links down below: merch, Patreon, social media,
we'll
typical YouTuber stuff, as well as another YouTuber establishing himself in the space. Please support his work. There's a link to his channel down below. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.
The video here was the predatory truth about Raid Casino Legends from Upper Echelon Gamers. I will say I like this one. I did like this one better than his previous one. I agreed with significantly more in this one. There's only a couple things I think I disagreed with, or I think he probably just doesn't have enough information, not have been so much into the community as I have in this one. But you know what? To be honest, this one's much fairer than the other one, and I absolutely love that he went in and talked about Aristocrat Leisure owning them. He talked about the guy being on the board. I mean, he went into all of the things that we've been complaining about on this channel for many years. And even though this is back in April 6th of 2020, this is basically 2 years for this video now. Can't believe I haven't seen this one yet because, man, I actually really enjoyed watching this one. So all the credit where credit's due, OG links and all that will be in there. Thanks for watching this one. Let me know what you guys thought about this one. There's actually some pretty funny memes in this one. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one.